I'm the one who controls the microphone. Yeah? We got to put this away. The Mercedes was a lot. Double lock. No games. All right, let's start this up. Okay, let's see what happens. You're good, Rabbi Shea, you okay? You have your seat still, right? There's room? Yeah. All right. Standing room only. All right, let's get to work, Rabbi Shea. No, it's cutting off my head. I'm getting scalped over here. Okay, now that's much better. Okay. And you guys hear me, no? I should make it a little lower or no? It is perfect, no? I don't think I've ever been this happy in my life. No, it's a new microphone and I control the microphone. Just control. So if all of a sudden you guys are, I see that some of you are getting tired, so I get louder and louder. Yeah, okay, it's dangerous. This is dangerous. Okay, so now let's get to work. Oh, this is a great day. It's mamish like a Hanukkah present. That's gewaldig. Mamish gewaldig. Okay, all right, let's get to work. We have a lot of cases. Over here. What if we have a lot of cases we have to get to today, but now we're all equal, almost. We're kimat all equal. In other words, now we know the rules. The rules are basically what's called a shever kli. When is it that we have the ikar kli kayim? And once the ikar kli is kayim, so then that's considered, like we spoke yesterday, if the ikar kli is kayim, then it's agavaviyah. Agavaviyah means that even that part is not considered a muksa. It could be considered still a shame of a kli. No, but it's not too loud, or it's good, right? Yeah, it's very, it's very clear. So this is wonderful. All I need now is an iced coffee, and life would be perfect. Oh, thank you. I should have asked the Mashiach. Okay, now watch. Let's go. But now we're all evil. Either we have here a shever kli, which is something that's broken, that has no use, that's emes and muksa. Then we're going to have agavaviyah, which everybody's not muksa. Bein the kli is not muksa. Bein the door and whatnot that fell off, the other part is not muksa. And then we have the third thing, the shema yitaka. When is it that the Chazal made a gzeira that he's going to be unhappy with the usage of his item because it's an essential chelik of the kli, which makes it very, very not user-friendly, and therefore he's going to come to do makeh b'patish, he's going to come to do an avera on Shabbos. And the mela, the things are both going to be muksa. Those are the shayla. So let's go now to a few cases. Now that we're all equal, and we'll try to work this out. Now, I must admit that what I'm saying today is my muskal rishon in a lot of these cases. But I mean muskal rishon is, we've had a lot of time to think about these cases. I'm going to give the oilam cases and my first thoughts. It could be that after Shabbos we might have second thoughts, right? But I want you to today I would use it more as we get to a table content. Unless said otherwise, this is the final psak on these items. But I want you to at least think about them. I have a lot of cases here. For example, a strand of pearls that comes apart on Shabbos. That's a very good example. It rips, very negaya, the baby rips it off and whatnot, and all of a sudden all the pearls are all over the house. Pearls, it's a big loss. It's a very big loss. The pearls started out, there was a klisha malachta, it was noy, it was jewelry, it was everything, but now it broke on Shabbos. What's a pearl when she's by herself? A pearl by herself is it's muksa. It's muksa, it's a vanim that doesn't have the etzem use, it's a building block, right? So now what happened? Now she ripped. So what's this? What's this about? Let's see. Is the ikar kli kayim, Rabbi say? No, it's 60 pearls, all separated by themselves, dragged around the South Sea over there. Now what? You want to know the ikar kli is not kayim? So now we have to go. So we're out of the sugya of Sif Ches. Now I need to know, do we even have a need in Hashem Yitaka? There's nothing to discuss. I don't have anything. So where am I? I'm in Sif Vav. If I'm in Sif Vav, that's what you have to do the whole time. If I'm in Sif Vav, I'm in a nishbar kli. If I'm in a broken kli, so now I have to see, does it have any usage at all? So it's not a usage. It's mamish. Is it oimed to throw out? It's certainly not oimed to throw out. It's true. It's certainly not. But does it have a usage? This is a good example of like the china plate that broke in half. It has no usage right now. So there's nothing to discuss. She is muksa. What do? One by one, the husband, the wife, they have to get on the floor and start picking up the pearls in their mouth, right? Be careful not to swallow them, and you have to you get all the pearls. Is that a good example? We all agree with that case? I think that one's case number one. We all agree? Rabbi Shmuel, you agree? No? The guys on TV, the guy from the tent, did the driver agree? They asked the driver if he agrees. Sorry? The kids. Oh, so if you're nervous because of the kids, because you're afraid the children will try to pocket some of the pearls, right? So then, you could sweep it maybe to the side because you're afraid the kid's going to swallow it, whatever. So you can move it to the side, tilt them in its side, let's say, I need the mokin because I need a little anshul to be able to dress around, to walk around over there. What? I can't hear you. The pearl on its own doesn't have a noy because that's not the usage. The noy is not to show a pearl. That's not the usage. The surah of how you beautify yourself with the pearl is you wear the pearl. So therefore that won't be considered a noy. It's similar to what we spoke about when it comes to the diamond. Sorry? So ma'amer, we spoke once, it's probably not ma'amer until you maybe putting them on the pearls, on the string itself, then you might have a problem of Shabbat Yikshar, and you have a problem of the chayil of ma'amer, ayin and shulchan aruch and siman shin lamed hey and siman shin mem sif tes. It won't be ma'amer. That's number one. We all agree to that? No, that's not enough. That's in its mocking, okay? Very good. I don't think I've ever been this relaxed. Thank you, Javi. I don't think I've ever been this relaxed. That's what it looks like in Gan Eden. The watch stopped. The watch, that's his guy. There's nothing. There's not more. The one I heard. The watch stopped. The watch stopped. What happens on Shabbos? Watch stops. Why would a watch stop on Shabbos? Two reasons. One is because the battery died. We had such issues yesterday. Right? The battery dies. That's one reason the watch stopped. Why else could a watch stop? Because you wound it. You didn't wind it. A watch stops. A watch stops. So what sugya do you put that in, Rabbi Isai? What's if you're allowed to wind it on Shabbos? Oh, we learned that in Makkah Patish. So therefore, you can't wind her on Shabbos. So therefore, what sukkah you put it in? Is that called the Iker Kli is Kayim? Don't get confused. Yeah? What does it mean, Iker Kli Kayim? It means Klape Hilchot. Don't think Kli means, will they sell this in the store? Kli means, is it functioning as an item that is usable on Shabbos? The answer is a resounding no. So there, wait one moment. So if it's a nice watch, he's got like a really nice Casio, like a calculator, and it's got even it might be like a light, like the green light, the flash, or like a really fancy one or something like that. So then we could talk, or he has like a really nice watch, it was made with like murdered alligators on the band, and the thing is made with the tusk of a dead elephant from Africa. So then we can talk. If it's jewelry, that's a different story. The same way that if it's not working, Bichlali is allowed to wear it, which is a rabbin. So under Shmiz, das is taka when it's that's something else. I'm not talking when it's jewelry. I'm talking, let's say it's like, it's not a Casio, it's a fancy watch. So he's got like a Cartier or something, a regular watch, And now that watch breaks on Shabbos, not something that he's going to wear, not something he's going to wear on Shabbos when that's not something that he wears to beautify. He wears it just to tell time. So now what sugya does that go into? That's first of all, okay, so maybe it's not a broken clean as much as Sivav, I don't know, maybe it is. But more so, is it Sivches? Everything is working fine? No. Are you going to come to Shemi Yitaka? Yeah. You're going to come to, so if you're going to come to wine, that's for sure problem. You can just come to wine and fix it. I think, what about a battery though? The battery is something you have to go to an umman, right? You have to go to umman to fix the battery, right? You can't just yourself fix the battery. So you're not going to, 1 second. So then the Taz told us that you have to go to an umman to fix the battery, then there's no problem of the Shema Yitaka. So maybe we can, but Rabbi said you're missing the aleph base. The Iker Kli is not Kayim. We're missing Sivches. We don't even have the aleph base here. The aleph base is that's why having Iker Kli and it's friendly to use, not friendly to use. Then we could down if it's Sivches or Sivtet Zayin. Over here, I don't have the Iker Kli because once it doesn't function as a Kli at all, there's nothing I could do with it now. It's not a tachshit, and it's nothing. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't tell time right now. It's going to be right about the time twice today. 11:32 a.m. and p.m. And that's it. That's the only time it's going to be right. So this is an unusable watch. So therefore, this is just a moment. This would go into Sivav, and this is what it says, Rabbi Yashiv, in the Sefer Shalmei Yehuda, In Gimel, your Gimel, he brings from Rabbi Yashiv. Rabbi Yashiv said, if the clock stops on Shabbos, she is muksa. Unless, like we said, she's a tachshit or something like that. Is that crystal clear? What? If it's a tachshit, then there's probably no Shema Yutaka. Because we only found Shema Yutaka when it's unusable. If I'm getting a benefit out of it, then I'm not going to do it. Sorry? We don't have that. If you have something, I'm getting every case really you can ask that question. When there's a door, I also have a benefit in the door going back on. It's also annoying not to have the door, right? It's also annoying not to have the door. Annoying is not enough. It means am I losing my essential chalik of the kli over here? So you're going to say, so if you tell me it's a tachshit, that's enough for you. So then you didn't lose the essential chalik of the kli. What do you want to ask about? No. I mean it's no. I don't mean it's wrong time. I mean it's stop. No, that's not. But I'll never know when that twice a day is. It's not going to help me, right? I don't know when that twice a day is. Now, is Rabbi say? So so what do I do? The clock stopped. What do I do now? The watch is on my hand and it stopped. What do I do? She's muksa. Right? So Shlomo Zalman has a shayla. Now, if you could start taking it off with your teeth and whatever, all types of other athletic tricks, okay, we can talk. But let's say you're not so athletic, But let's say the shayla first. You have over here like this. I have two choices, says Shlomo Zalman. I could sit there and wear the watch on my hand all day, and then I'm doing an avera of carrying muksa b'shtei valtaisa. I'm not positively doing something in order to carry the muksa. Or what else can I do? My other choice is that I could take it off. But then I'll do a maisa b'kumasei of movement of muksa, but I'll do a one-time maisa of kumasei as opposed to having to do a sheidah taisa, which is going to last for the entire Shabbos. This happens Friday night. He's wearing a watch, he's wearing muksa. Elamai, you're going to say it's tiltum min atzad. Maybe not. That's the normal way of wearing a watch. So there are some weird, strange individuals. They wear the watch like around the neck. I don't know if they can tell time. Anyways, I don't know. No, it could be it's just like a stopwatch. I don't know. But it's just a stopwatch. Yeah, I don't know. But I'm saying, but the chevra that know how to tell time. So that's the normal way. You put it on your hand like this. So what happens when you take off the watch? You're doing a ma'aseh yadayim. So do I say it's better to do a ma'aseh yadayim and do it one time of tiltul muksa, or is it better to be shevel taisa, be metaltal muksa all day? Not positively. Who knows the answer to this question? Sorry? Oh, so now the mice again, it became muksa in his hand. It's either biyadai, and if there's a hefsid, we're going to let him, let's say, for example, it's in his hand now, and he's there he is, and he's afraid he's going to lose it, or he's in a place. So we're going to let him, let's say he could do the thing with the mouth or whatever. So we'll let him do it somewhere else. Sorry? So what are you saying? No, but that again, there could be that once something is the normal oifin of its tiltal, that again, we have to learn. This is like shinoi. That's a big shot. We have to learn that. I'm going right now in the sad. It could be that maybe Chazal just weren't geyser b'chlal on anything but the hands, and that's what you're saying. Maybe they just weren't geyser on hands. We have to see it's not pasha b'chlal. We'll see. They all talk about this kicking a ball, which smokes or things like that. Sorry. Yeah. Now again, there's one nidin over here is that this is not necessarily called a shinui. Nidin number one. Nidin number two. Muksa biyada, you're allowed to continue carrying. Okay, but you can't carry it all day. That's shayla. You can't carry muksa all day, right? So now that's shayla. Do I say it's better carrying muksa all day in your arm because sheitel taisa? Do I say do a maisa, a one-time maisa? So there's no shayla that if he has to there'll be a hefsid or something. So we'll let him take it off with his teeth over there as opposed to over there because we have a hefsid, even though it's a muksa machmas kufay, but it's a makom to be makel, but makom hefsid like we spoke out b'shaita. Why the Mishabur does bring it over there, if I remember correctly in Tavka Vav, the Mishabur I think it was in Sivkot and Chavtaz, and the Graz also said such a okay. But halach l'maisa, what do? Do I take it off? What? On my side, nobody sees what's going on in my watch. I mean, right now if my watch is working or not. You can't see. If you would see my watch right now, you'd say it's not working because my watch says that it's 9 minutes to 3, right? Well, what time is it really? It's not exactly, right? And my watch just makes sense, right? So each person teach that. What? No, 9 minutes after 3. Yeah, you see, I don't even read it. I don't even know how to read it. It's unbelievable. No one can believe it. Okay, I'm saying the other shayla, about it could be a tzad shayla for sure, for sure. If that's for sure, that it's not a tachshit, Rabbi Khan is right. If it's not a tachshit, there's no question that you have a problem of tzad. That's a much bigger problem. Well, let's say it's an Erev or whatever. Now, is Rabbi like, so what do we do? What do we do? So, does anybody know the answer to this question? So what do you do? You have such a question. You look in Shmir Shabbos, right? So in Shmir Shabbos, Kaf Ches, Sifin and Tes, he says, I don't know. Why? Because Shalom didn't know. So if Shalom didn't know, nobody knows. Now this is totally in a bigger shaila, which we're going to come back to hopefully toward the end of Hilchos Shabbos, which is a guy sitting on a tree. If you got up to the tree and then you climbed up the tree, did we tell you stay there the whole Shabbos? Did we tell you jump off? Is it better to stay there the whole Shabbos or whatever? Because now you're being mishtamish with the tree and whatever. So we have to talk about this. What? Sorry? That's mashma. It's only out to knas, but it's mashma that that's him. We would have told you to jump off. So it sounds like the better of the two is to jump. Okay, we're going to talk about it. In the meantime, what to do with your watch? Don't know. There's stuff you have to figure out a way to metalta. You might have the svara that shape out price is better. Plus, it's oida b'yadai, and oida b'yadai. Maybe it's just continuing. And the whole of this was that we said you have to put it down as fast as possible. Well, here I can't. So if here I can't, so then maybe we'll say that that's called oida b'yadai, and an oida that I can't, and muksa b'yadai, nishkapel chakamitz muksa shel gufay. But this is not pretty. First. Sorry? the Kinder Nitzimachal sein Shabbos. So, ask the bus driver over there. Maybe he'll know. Right? Those guys know everything. Ask the bus driver. Bus? Somebody else thinks you won't have the fashion. Sorry? Somebody else thinks you won't have the fashion. No. Now, but now there's one thing. So let me tell you what happened to one of the Kallus children a few years ago when he got the fancy Casio watch. Yana fancy Casio watch that all of us had at one point in our lives, right? And then we go on to get some of us still have it. He's in big trouble. You just got him in big trouble. You got him in so much trouble. He wasn't in so much trouble. All right, yes, thank you, Rabbi Shway. The Casio watch, he's gotten in so much trouble. This is like a breath of fresh air. It's like a breath of fresh air. But we get with no eye and heart. So like this. Now, so what were we talking about? The watch. So one of the Kallus children got a fancy Casio watch. So there he was on Shabbos, and a button got pressed. Stomach malach, the same one that brings the money for the teeth and all that stuff. Someone pressed the button, and the button on the watch turned to what? 0000. Yeah, 0000. What's that? Is she muksa now? Is she muksa now? The 0 it turned on to the stopwatch. Yeah? Huh? No. I'm saying without the jewelry stuff. No, it wasn't the first shot. I don't think it was the first shot. No, it just happened. But what? No, so is this called Iker Kli Kayim? Oh yeah, that's called Iker Kli Kayim. Why? Because you just felt pressing the button. The kli is not broken. The kli is not broken. Imagine going to the Zager, the watch fixer. The Zager, I've been nished. You just press the button, tough guy. That means that the watch is under there and it's still working. You just don't know what's going on. So then I decide that's called the Iker Kli is still Kayim. So she's not muksa. She won't be muksa. You could mistama, it's she's not muksa. Sorry? Come again? Unwinded watch. So there, it doesn't have any function. You can say this also doesn't have a function, right? But here, you can't say the kli is broken. There, hagufa, what's the reason why you're not allowed to wind it? Because it has a shame of a shever kli. And therefore, you're doing makam patah when you wind it. Now, it's talking that the panamiris, because being that the time is still going underneath and you just don't know what's going on, the truth is, if you were able to get in there, you'd see it, right? Yeah, no, the truth is, my Zayda, the Panamiris, he might agree with you. We spoke about this B'Shaita. He held that winding a watch is like a folding chair, and you're talking that it's telling you that fight. But we who are Machmir and consider winding a watch in Dinas Deraisa, so therefore, that's the Not on everything do we, a Shema Yitaka, we find a Shema Yitaka when Chazal were chayshish, that you're going to go and do a makah b'patish. We find that you're going to go and do this. The fact that I have a kli, which is fully kind, if you're going to make a shemli tuck on that, then in a dark room, you're not going to be able to walk into because you're going to turn on the lights. And you have to be able to differentiate between something that's broken. When something is broken, Chazal made exera. Hagam, like he's saying, there's much more reason that a person is going to press the button. It's 10,000 times easier and it's much more b'chshash. But Chazal weren't geyser. Chazal were only geyser on a broken kli. Now you know, if I was nervous about Rabbi Lieberman, I don't know. A guy like you, I don't know if you should be holding the watch because I'd make my own zera on you. Just like I make you put up a sign that says Shabbos Kodesh that you shouldn't turn on the light. But that's not the gzera of Chazal. The gzera of Chazal was if you have a shever kli, a broken kli, that is something that we're afraid you're going to come to fix. But you can't make up a new gzera. Come, it doesn't have a shem, Rabbi Stender. Do you understand what I'm saying? If let's go right there. Oh, am I happy today? Okay. Now, should I just tell you one interesting thing? There's but we're all equal. I want to talk about this. Just an interesting thing. Is a watch muksa? A watch that works. Like one of those shocking ideas of it. Is a watch that works. It's like a person, he learns Mishnah Berurah. He's a simple guy, you know, and he learns Mishnah Berurah. He's going to come to Simon Shin Ches at the end over here. This is something interesting. And the Shulchan Aruch says, he says, you know, where'd she go? It was at the end of here. I think it was Mem Ches. Mem Tes, Nun. No, it's in the Mishnah Berurah. Sorry. Mishnah Berurah says, in Sibkatin, well, it's actually, no, it is a Shulchan Aruch. No, it's a Shulchan Aruch. Mashim Moira ala Shoyes. Did I tell you the story of the Goylem or no? I just remember. Is the Goylem real? That we'll never know. Is the Goylem real? We'll never know. Did the Maral make a Goylem? We'll never know. Mistammer, ich meine, if the ganze Klal Yisrael sucht das etwas, Mistammer, the Goylem the Maral beschafft the Goylem. I know some of my Talmidim are Einiklach of the Goylem. But you know, did he make a Goylem? Das weiß ich nicht. Yeah? Mistammer, you know, they don't say it about me and you know, so Mistammer. But those stories about the Goylem that we were in this gala by Rabbi Yosel, the Jewish press. No, FJJ. But those stories about the Goylem, you know, Yosel, the Wassertrager, and all those stories, are those stories real? No, those aren't real. How do we know those aren't real? So he was a good person. He wanted people to be reading literature that wasn't filled with all types of dreadful ashkafas and stupidity. Now those women are davening by the kaisel. You understand? Those are the Einiklach, the Goylem, you know? So he was trying to give literature because not everybody could read a block Gemara, and who had art scroll? And the FJJ didn't exist back then. So the Mela was kamechti. What could you do? So he made up stories. How do we know he made them up? Who is it? Yosef Rosenberg, right? Rosenberg. What? Sorry? Okay, so he made up the stories. How do I know he made up the stories? A few rayas. The Iker raya is that, you know, the famous story with Yosef the Wassertrager, that he took the water and Mamish, he did never, you know, trust Yosef the Goylem with filling up with the water. Why? The whole Prague was almost flooded with water. Fragnish, you know? The whole Prague, because this guy can go to cup. The whole Prague. So at the end of that chapter, it says like this. He claims in the beginning of the book, I found the book and I'm translating it to modern, excuse me. No, he doesn't say that, sorry. He says he has the book from the Chavos Yair, because Chavos Yair was an Einikel of the Maral, right? So he says he found the book and Fakir, he was, to make a long story short, he was keeping it in Lashon HaKodesh, whatever. So he said he found the book. And he's just the Moitzi L'or. He found it. He had, he spent a lot of money to get the book and whatever. He found the book. At the end of the chapter, I think it was the 19th chapter. At the end of the chapter, he writes like this. That's where it comes from in Prague, the saying that you're a watch fixer, right? Like Yosel, it's like a good rank. You're a watch fixer, like Yosel's a Wassertrager. Now that's where it comes from. Now you know, if you ever wanted to know, where does it come from, that famous saying in Prague? That you're a watch fixer, like Yosel's a Wassertrager. Yeah. So what does he write there? He writes, he says a Lashon, right? He says, What's the lashon he says? Who remembers? What? You're a metaken she'onim. You're a metaken she'onim. You're a watch text shaon. You're a metaken she'onim. Kimo she'yosef is a vasatrug. Okay. The word sha'on, the Paiskim didn't have. The word sha'on is about 130 years old. Baruch, maybe 140 years old. The whole word sha'on. In the Paiskim, including the Chavos Yair, where he claims the book came from, they use two words. They either use zeiger, because there was Yiddish, they didn't have a different word, or like it says over here in Shulchan Aruch, moira shoyz. Those are the words they had. So that means that it's fake news. Because it says over there, you're a sha'on. He's saying this is the book that he found from the Chavos Yair. The Chavos Yair never heard of the word sha'on. So is it upgefrekt, the goyim? It's not upgefrekt. Is it upgefrekt? It's not upgefrekt. But the stories are upgefrekt. You know, that you have to know. Okay, now how do we get there? That which tells time. Stop it if it's mutter. The watch. It says in the Shulchan Aruch, the Rama says the minig is you're not allowed to use a watch. You're not allowed to use a watch. A watch is muksa. Why is a watch muksa? So the Mishnah brings down Zeiger. Our Zeiger is nishkeferlech. Zeiger yesh lanu lahatir pri megadim. He says why? Why is a Zeiger butter? So if you look up the pri megadim inside, he says why is a Zeiger not muksa? Moira Shaya says yeah muksa. So why not? So if you look at the pri megadim inside, he says because ours are fancy. You know. In those days, they used to have like a pocket watch, you know. So so it was a tachshit azah, which is the whole shayla legabi. So our zeigerlach are tachshitim. Our zeigers are tachshitim. That's what it says over there in the Pri Megadim. So what? So beside, what's the reason why you're allowed to wear a watch and it's not muksa? Because it's a tachshit. It's a piece of jewelry. So what? So what's come to chayis? No. So what? So today, so Yana Casio. Yana, famous Casio. What's up in yet with the Casio? No? So come to chayis that the Casio she's going to be muksa because nobody's doing it as a tachshit. Is I bazai. So then the Rabbi said, so then your watches are muksa. A non-fancy watch, that's what it says in the Mishnah Berurah. Any simple person reading Mishnah Berurah, that's exactly what he's going to say. You hear this, Maisa? Unbelievable. This is muksa. So is that true? Is that true? So the Pesach Advir, he says now, it's talking over there, the Shulchan Aruch is talking about what? The Shulchan Aruch is talking about like a sundial or a stand dial. So he says, so you take a sundial and a sand dial, there you have to do a maisa and it's dumia to medida. It looks like you're measuring. That's why it was muksa. But he says, but our watch is not. Our watches, where's the Pesach Tzvi? I didn't write it down. Our watches are not. Our watches are not like, you're not doing a maisa of medida, you're not measuring the sand and time, whatever. But that doesn't work with Mishnah Berurah. No? Doesn't work with the Mishnah Berurah. The Mishnah Berurah says not like that. The Mishnah Berurah is talking about our zakers, things that tell time. You didn't have to do a maisa to tell time, right? You don't have to take sand and pour it over and whatever. So does that mean that today our watches are muksa? Why would it be muksa? It sounds like in the Pri Megadim, it's like an uvdin d'chol. Because they use the watches to measure things. What do you mean to measure things? You have to know the amount of time to, how long it takes to cook a thing. So you have to, it's an uvdin d'chol, you look at it, it has been cooking for 25 minutes. So comes the game of Shlomo Zalman, and he says, so today, even the Pri Megadim will agree. Because by us, we don't use watches just for chol-related item. We just stop, look at the time. Stop, look at the time. In those days, Kanira, the Shlomo Zalman said the watch was used just to measure the amount of time from here to there. The Maisa, Kfar Pashat ad minig leheter. Rama says Kfar Pashat ad minig leheter. Kfar Pashat ad minig leheter. So that was a digression. Let's go weiter. Goes. Right, but he says the Isser is uvdin d'chol. Rav Shlomo Zalman says the Isser, the Pri Megadim, is that a watch, it's uvdin d'chol. He says uvdin d'chol means it's something that is primarily used for chol. By us, the watch is b'chol not used for chol. B'chol, nobody even dawns on a person that he doesn't even understand. A watch what's a watch? A watch is what you tell time. It doesn't measure time. It doesn't even understand this Mishnah Berurah. So if you don't understand this Mishnah Berurah, then your watch is not an uvdin d'chol. Is that crystal clear? Vos? Come again? So the mini glass with the sand, is that going to be muksa? So you're measuring now. So that might not be an uvdin d'chol because you're measuring gain. So it's uvdin the mischak. What? Sorry? Yeah? Yeah? Look, look, mitzad moksa, she's a klisha marked yesterday, which will be motul tzagufa, but mitzad medida you have to down. What? You mean you have okay. You know, I didn't plan on talking about this. I just wanted to throw in the thing about watch. I could hear both ways. So I have to think about it. I told you this year, anyways, is my first thoughts, and after Shabbos it could be, the second thoughts. Okay. Okay. Let me get it. Now the watch band comes off on Shabbos. Now we're all equal. The watch band comes off on Shabbos. Okay. The watch band falls off on Shabbos. Are you allowed to put is the watch muksa? Is the watch muksa? Let's try and figure this one out. Let's see. Is it nishber legamre like sivav? No, it still works, right? It's still is the ikr kli kayan? Maybe, right? Maybe what? What? Yeah, it's ikr kli is kayan. Wait, slow. Is the ikr kli kayan? Wait a minute. 1 second. Is this an essential chelik of the kli? Yeah, the essential chelik of the kli is here, no? It's the same as the atzis chayin. The atzis chayin. It's like the case of the door. It's like the dlasas akelim. You guys think it's like dlasas akelim? The elamite. If it's like dlasas akelim, so now I want to know, is the band, so fine. So the watch part will be not muksa. That's what I'm hearing from the oilam here. The watch part is not muksa. But what about the band? So now we go back to all our fights. The band, is it usable for anything? No. Okay, but the Shabbat is Mekel. The band, do I need to take it to an uman to fix it? Derek Klau, right? There's always that one kid, no, I can fix it. Oops. Would have just brought it to okay. So just a moment. So now we get involved as an uman. You need to go to an uman, but the Mishmur doesn't bring that. Is it going back this band? Yeah, it's going back this band. Usually it's going back this band, right? So what? So if it ripped, then if it ripped, then she's going in the garbage. Then there's nothing to discuss. But let's say just that little metal piece came out, of the Casio. You know what I'm talking about, that little metal piece, right? So, wait, so let's just finish this. So the kids we all agree? I think we all agree, right? The watch part, if the watch snaps off on Shabbos, she's not muksa. And l'chayra, if the band comes off completely, usually it doesn't come off completely anyways. So once we establish that the watch isn't muksa, so then we're okay. But if the whole thing comes off, so then l'chayra, there's definitely on the watch we could be makel. On the band is a little bit more schwer because you're getting involved in all those fights. The Mishagura maybe was makel, but you're getting involved in all those fights. Sorry? Come again? The mail what? No, but even if I don't know if I agree with that. Even if it's so interesting. He's asking, he's saying, how could you be such a hypocrite? In a second ago, we said that if the watch stops completely, right? If the watch stops completely, so we allowed you to say it's not muksa. Why? Because it's jewelry. So that means that the kli kayim is the jewelry. Now, in a case of where it's a Derek Agav, I was talking about, he's right, because I said Casio. I was joking, Casio is not such a fancy watch. Okay, but I was glad to talking about a Casio. He's talking about one of these Cartiers or Rolexes or what are those things, right? So those ones, and now he's asking, let's see if the Rolex, the band comes off, right? The band comes off, it's Nisgal, it's a fake Rolex. And now you want to know, let's see, he's saying, a second ago, you only let me wear it when it broke because why? Because it's the jewelry. So then now that it's off, the jewelry is broken. The jewelry is broken, and then the matzah now, it doesn't do jewelry. It's an interesting shaila. Interesting shaila. What? Why? No, why does he want to touch it? About it? He wants to go and put it in a place. What do you mean? He wants to put it away. It fell on the floor. It's a very common thing. He's walking and it has a break. It's like falls on the floor. So he's saying, Avivait, that's an interesting shaila. And I'm not that you're tricking me. There's something here that bothers me. You know what? Get out. So if it has two main functions, that's what I'm clearing. Maybe it has two main functions. All right, let me think about it. I think Rabbi Geiger's. That's who just said it. I think he's right. I think it does have two main functions, and that might be enough here. Klapa the muksa aspect, but I have to think of that. And both of them will be the kula. I don't think it's a target size. I need to think, without the microphone. I need to think without the microphone, but let's see. Sorry. Wait. So what do we come out? The watch. If the watch breaks off in a regular watch, we'll call it. The watch is not muksa. The band, if she's going back, is a mukim to be mako, but it's not pashit. Okay. If it's a jewelry watch, I'm still noita that you have these heterim. And certainly if the watch is attached still, the whole band didn't come off, and the ikr kli is by you the watch, so then the stomach, you're okay. It's the stomach, not muksa. Sorry? Right, that's the shayla. That's the shayla. That's what he's saying. That's what Rabbi Eckstein is saying. That a watch that is a jewelry watch, you're not going to be using as a watch function. It's just not the norm. You won't use that type of watch. What? Yeah. You're being mechazik hisva. Yeah, I can hear it sound like that. I'm not 100% sure. He's saying that the ikr function of a jewelry watch is to beautify and fakir. He's not going to go. It's the most ugliness in the world, as if you have to take out his fancy watch and whatever, and all of a sudden it became like some yeshiva shemaisa. I mean, again, I don't know why everything there is yeshiva, right? But it became something like yeshiva shemaisa that he's like walking around like this. It's like the antithesis of the jewelry. I can hear a little bit of this. Okay, now somebody had like this a few weeks ago. Somebody in shul, he came to me. He had his crown fell out. The crown, not like the David HaMelech, like the crown on his tooth. So I tried to look into it because I knew that you're gonna have to give shir on these things. Yeah, so it's interesting. I don't know what to do with this. First of all, the mitzias, right? Sometimes it does go back in. You can wedge it back in, right? And I don't know. I don't know what that is. I'm very navaich over here because what's broken here? In other words, my tooth is broken. I don't know how to dan the shaila. I was trying to dan the shaila back then when I wasn't in the sugya. Now that I'm in it, I'm having a harder time. In other words, let's see. If you need an umin to fix, let's go in order. Before I try to even put it back in my mouth. Let's see. First of all, it falls out, and I want it. Okay, it falls out in your mouth, but then it's no problem. Just take it and put it on the side. But I want to know, can I take it out with my hand and put it there? Is it muksa? Is it not muksa? What is this thing? Is this? Let's go in order. His case was the way he asked it. Whether it's true or not, I found it after. It's not so posh. But let's say you need an umin to put it back. Okay, so I need an umin to put it back. So I don't have a shemi yitaka. Okay, I don't have that sugi of shemi yitaka because I'm not an umin. I'm not going to go to a dentist now to put it back. So we don't have the issue of shemi yitaka. But is the ikr kli kaim? What's the ikr kli? My mouth. I don't know how to don this. The ikr kli is kaim. This thing is just like making my mouth better, right? I don't know how to don it. It's like a weird thing. I don't know. And then elamai, is it a broken kli? It's on its way back. So what is that? It's a piece of my tooth now, right? In Ilchas Mikvah, it's a piece of the tooth, right? The lady's toivel with the crown, if it's a proper crown. If it's a temporary one, maybe it's a whole different shmooze, right? But a permanent crown is that she toiveled with it, so it was a part of her body. So if it's a part of your body, so then what? Then it's the ikr kli is kaim. The body shragi is still here. The selamai, she's going back. There's no shemi yitaka. So maybe it's a shever kli. Elamai, you get involved in the other shayla. There's nothing. Agav aviyam. Maybe it's an agav aviyam. It's agav aviyam, right? And now what? Elamai, but you want to dan that maybe there's no usage for it. There's no usage for it. So loy mevai, if I could just put it in, I just like put it in there and it just sits there and then it does work. It does do something, right? But even if I can't put it back in, but then we have the mishabura. This is for sure going back. Okay, the Omen store, the mishabura didn't care so much. Okay, it's there were a lot of svars over here, and it's a crown, which is something that this person has a hefset from. Stomach is makom to be made like that side and to consider. Excuse me. There's mistama makom to be made like that side. I'm noited as a makom to be made. But if you don't need an umen, I just don't know. I don't know what that is to put a, I don't know what that is to put it back on Shabbos. But it might be Bani Ba'adam and it might be a Shemi Taka, but there's no Shemi Taka because I'm not Num, right? It's a rough. And you're going to do a hiddik and make it tight. That could be a problem. To take it, wait, why don't you tell the driver to come get Plantazational. I'm going to admit to Shem. Shem will help us that the Chumash part will be good, so you didn't feel that you came for but you probably had a good time anyways. No? It's experience to remember for the rest of your life. Right, to put it back in, that's a different sugya. Mitzvah Shem will learn that sugya. That's a sugya of Baina itself. It could be if you put it back in and it's tight when you put it back in, it could be that's Baina Ba'adam. And then that might be a mitzvah to kill you if you do that on Shabbos. That's a different reason. But it would be a Shem you talk about. I don't know. But I know he's saying if when I put it back in, it would be tight. So then maybe there's a Shem Yitzchaka. Maybe there's a Shem Yitzchaka. Yeah, I know, but he's saying that if let's say putting it back in, it's tight, so then you're going to be over on Boina if you would put it back in. So if you're going to be over on Boina when you put it back in, we're going to make already a Xera on the tiltle of the crown right now. Okay, again, let's at least discuss what's clear. What's clear is that if you need an uman to put it back in, l'chayra, l'daiti, it's not muksa, it's a big hefsed, you can make makel, and you become not muksa, and so is the crown not muksa. If you need an uman, so then, if you don't need an uman, so then biker is not muksa. The only question is, if you don't need an uman, but when you're going to put it back in, it's going to be wedged and it's going to be tight. So maybe there's a boina to do that. So then maybe we'd make a Shemi Yitaka. But the answer is we're not going to make a Shemi Yitaka. No, we're not going to make a Shemi Yitaka. No, you tricked me. Because Shragi's still here. Shragi's still here. What? No. Again, Shragi's still here. Since I'm still here, so therefore the essential part of the crown is Shragi, right? Who happens not to have crowns, right? But the essential part of the crown is me. No, so you tricked me. So you're out. Get him out. Get out. What? What's the echo? What? I don't. The tooth is still here. What? No. You get Rabbi say a crown. You can still use the tooth. It's not. They don't. No. The tooth. You can still. What's it called? You can still use the tooth. Right? He's saying we don't look at the Adam Kloli. We look at that tooth, but the tooth still works. It's not the shot that the tooth doesn't work when you have a crown, right? The tooth works. It just you're covering. I think the crown basically covers the filling, or strengthens that area, or whatever. It doesn't not the shot that it doesn't work. You know, if he has over there, if he's got a crown and all of a sudden he's got like roots over there and there's like a whole oil slick in there, you got big problems. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the crown. The crown is a tooth that works. It's just not as good. It's not good die. You want to cover it, etc. I think is that not the Matthias? Right? I think I'm right. No. Okay. What? What's disturbing? The tooth? Why? It hurts? I don't think it hurts. Wait, so maybe I don't know. I always thought a crown just got. What? Okay, so I'm talking about the one where you can still use your tooth. If you can't use your tooth, then we would probably down that the essential kli is not kind. Then I hear that. I don't. I think that's very aggressive because I think they have to put in first the filling. There's also the crown goes after. There's something under there, right? You understand? There's something there. It's like a person. I mean, the emperor's new clothing. Okay, talking gas, and he takes off the shirt. So he's got to have in there like something under the crown. Let's say meinech, right? But that piece still can handle food. It can handle pcha. It can handle grievance. No, because I can throw you out. You've never been thrown out yet. It's not good. First week. First week. Don't get thrown out in the first week. What? Okay. Now, you know what I was thinking? I have a case. This is mamish. This is $1 million case that nobody caught. $1 million case. When did I caught this? Today. Today, I was sitting at my table in my house, and so something was about to fall. So I went like this, and I accidentally banged the table. And when I banged the table, I don't have to tell you all these things. It doesn't matter why, right? a nail, a screw came out from under the table. A screw came out from under the table. A screw. Now, again, it's Mike's Dinet's table, but it's been there for 25 years. The screw, even everything needs to. So the screw came out. That means the leg is still there. The leg, it must have been loose. I didn't even know. Right? The leg is there. Everything is fine. There's two other screws there. One screw came out. Right? Me, you know what? Me got a one-track mind. She muksa. She muksa. You never think of this case. This is the most obvious normal case. Let's see, what figure are we in? Is the kli still kaim? Yeah. Is it glossus kalim? Yeah. It's regular glossus kalim. Is she going back this screw? Yes. The screw is going back. Is it an umen to put it back? No. This is a gewaldige case. It's mamish a gewaldige riddle. It's a gewaldige riddle. No tully. It's a gewaldige riddle. When they have a nail on Shabbos, this is number 71. And when they have a nail on Shabbos, a screw, whatever, a nail, when they have a screw on Shabbos, that's not muksa. Moyer dike de Welt. No? Nobel Peace Prize. Yeah? Was? Oh, why is it different than a button? No. No. What was our svars with buttons? We had a lot of svars. First of all, maybe that button's not going back. So here, this for sure is going back, right? Then we had svars that it may be an umen because in Hilchis Chalamoyed, it's a umen, right? Sorry? No, the screw is not an umen. No. There was another svara. There was one other svara that would be true. Is that they said a svara from Rabbi Yashin, maybe that if you have to do an isser, it's not just returning, it's not just nisparik and whatever. But that's that's not the pashas. And we said that's much. What? Yeah. There's no shem. Why is there no shemi yitaka? Why is there no shemi yitaka? Because the table is a very usable, functioning table. Everything's fine. Right? No, it's I'm saying, you guys like the case because nobody would have the case. It's like the most simple case of our sugya, and it's the best case. There's no shemi yitaka because the table works. It's not broken that you can't use it for sure now. Elamai, the only challenge you have to done is there a usage of the kli, the mishabur is makel, even though there's no usage for the nail. Right? God, you could use the nail anyways. You could, especially with the crown, you can pick out the stuff from inside there. There's stuff you could do with the nails. But excuse me. Now, Lamaisa, the truth is that I'm getting a message over here that Rabbi Zolti's friend is still stuck in the toilet. And the truth is, he's right. We didn't get there. But let's see. Just the Mishabura Be'etzim over here and Sivkat Lamed Hey, he sort of already gave us away the answer. It doesn't look good. Everything we're talking about is Agav Aviyim of the Kli. Because you are considered not Muksa because your father is still around and he's not Muksa. But the Mishabura in the same one in Lamed Hey says, this is all with Delasis Akeli because it's a Kli. Aval Betlasis Abayis. What does that mean? Anything that's a Mechober Karka, even though it's Roy, even though it's what you could do with it, but it doesn't have the same Kli, it's missing the Aleph base. As of when Shabbos came in, it was Oymit for what? Not to be Metaltil, because it was attached to the fact that you can take a door and close it, that's not called tiltil. That's in its mucker. That's the level of its mucker. That's its entire vicinity. So now it's agav. There's no agav aviyam because it was never a kli. So Mishabura says if it falls off on Shabbos, it's oimid l'schaber, and then it's aser bein if it happened before Shabbos, bein on Shabbos. Now there is a chazay ish that he says if the door handle fell off before Shabbos and you used it like that, if you use it one time, that's not so pasha. But if you use it like that, then he says that's like a yichud. That becomes like you were miyachid this thing. It's no longer oimid to be the schaber. Now it's like the key of the door. There is such a spot. But let's make an easy case. When it fell off on Shabbos, if it fell off on Shabbos, mamish muksa. And Baruch Hashem, he's still locked in the bathroom because he's not allowed to come out. Right? That's taka muksa. V'oid, Rabbi Isai, there's Xer Hashem Yitaka. There's also Xer Hashem Yitaka. It's a very not friendly way of using the door without the handle, right? It's also like Xer Hashem Yitaka. And this is Nageo. All these things are by the toilet seat. You ever, not that anybody wants to, but you go into the Darton, the toilet, and Darton, and Darton, Fragnish, the Lach, boop, there's the toilet on the floor, the seat, right? Now let's go in order before we start, right? Is there a Shem Yitaka or is it an essential part of the Kli? So I was once giving a shir and somebody, remember, You're in public sometimes. He said, why? You could use it without. You know who not to let use your toilet. Yeah. You want that guy in the bathroom? You want him in your toilet? Who wants the guy? No, but forget that. Rabbi say, so do what? Now you have that it's attached to the ground. The toilet, she's attached to the ground. I hope. Yeah, she's attached to the ground. Right? So if the toilet she's attached to the ground, so then what? No. So then it's something that's if it fell off on Shabbos or even before Shabbos, but it's only now. If you use it all the time like that, so then maybe it's a kli, maybe it's a yichud. You're miyachid this like boy, I think it's called. You're miyachid this round thingy in order to put on the toilet, right? So the Rebbe said, no, that could be yichud. But if it happened like on Shabbos or something like that, or right before Shabbos, and nobody uses it like that or whatever, so then you have to remember that toilet seat is muksa, and you can't pick it up and put it on. You won't be able to put it on. First of all, the Gzeir Hashem talk, but even more so, it's not a kli. It's not a kli. It's something that's oimid to be in the schaber. You have to know that. This is a big idea. Now, what do you do with your friend in the toilet? Whatever. Okay, there could be a couple of Bria Shaila. We'll have to talk about this. Maybe there might be a heter to move muksa. Magim couple of Brias. What? Come again? His friend got locked in the toilet and the door handle came off. So now, you're gonna have to put the door handle back in to open it up, right? So we'll have to see. Let's see. Maybe after Shabbos we'll have some type of a way to save him. In the meantime, he's still there for Shabbos. What? Sorry? You're not a Chanami. In Chanami, Yossi says, "What's the problem with being stuck in the toilet?" What's the problem? It's annoying. What? Now, yeah, I have to say Chumash. So it's. I guess we'll stop early. No, but we didn't do anything today. Wait, we didn't talk about. So we did Mamish. All right. Sorry, we did a little bit, no? A little bit. Let me just say Chumash Rabbi said. And Chanukah. Let's say Chanukah. What should I do? I should say Chanukah or Chumash? Right, so maybe I'll do both because I feel bad, no? What do you think, Nasi? You're in charge, and you were the one that had the hardest travel and everything. Okay, should I do both or no? Should I welcome everybody or no? Okay, I welcome all the listeners from Torah Time to Yerushalayim, Yer HaKodesh. Welcome for Shabbos Chanukah, Parshas Vayeshev. This is the first time in 20 years that Parshas Vayeshev is the only Shabbos Chanukah. Something very miyuchad. It must be a very miyuchadik year. Very miyuchadik year. So the, what are you going to be thinking when you say Shechiyanu v'kiyimanu v'giyanu l'zman hazeh? Tonight you're going to be saying Shechiyanu v'kiyimanu. A few minutes, a few moments from now in Yerushalayim, you're going to be saying Shechiyanu v'kiyimanu v'giyanu l'zman hazeh. What are you going to be thinking? You're going to think, no, not in Taka this year. Not everybody's here. Not everybody's here. And a lot of people, it's very hard for them to even say Shechiyanu v'kiyimanu v'giyanu l'zman hazeh this year. It's not so simple. From now, from last Chanukah, that's when basically all this stuff started up. At least somewhere in the world, it was really starting up. So over the course of that entire tkufa, so then how are you gonna say Shechiyanu v'kiyimanu v'giyanu l'zman hazeh with the proper? So there's a ma'aseh with Napoleon. Did you ever wonder how Napoleon, why he was so Jewish friendly? Okay, could the Rebbeinu Shalom put it into his mind, and to free the Jews? Okay, by some of our Gedolim, it wasn't considered such a very big, it wasn't such a great thing for the Jewish people that they had this emancipation. But the ma'aseh, what was going on in this guy's head to give Jews freedom that for hundreds and hundreds, thousands of years, the Jews didn't have in Europe, that he freed the Jews and freed them out of the ghetto. And they say a ma'aseh in Kovna. The ma'aseh they say was that when Napoleon got to Kovna, so he made a party. He made like a banquet because the people that were there, many people were very happy to not be under the Tsar anymore, and they made a banquet. And of course, Napoleon, was the main star. He was a tremendous balgaiva, and he was very, very loud and labedick. And it became known to him. He became aware at the banquet that there's no Jews. There's no Jews at the banquet. So he sent for the Rav of Kovna. This is before my time. This is before he took Lachanan even. But so he sent for the Rav in Kovna, and the one before me. So the Rav came and he said to the Rav, "Why haven't you come to the banquet?" So you're expecting some type of like Purim story or whatever. Why didn't you come to the banquet? He said he doesn't. The Rav would come. Said, we don't really get involved so much in politics and these sorts of things. Not our thing. Not so much our thing. He says, what are you involved in? Politics. He's calling me politics. Napoleon, about yay high, but you're calling me politics. So what do you Jews, get involved in? He says, we study the Bible and that's what we do. He says, yeah. So with the big, the big guy would laugh. He says, no. And what does the Bible say about someone like me that conquered the whole world? What does the Bible say about me? So the Rav in Kovna, he said, L'maisa, in the Parsha, in Parshas Vayeshev, you know a little Bible, you know the story about Joseph, about Yosef and the dream. Oh yeah, I know the story. He says, and you know the story where the Sarah Mashkin, the minister of drinks, remember the story? Yeah, I know the story. So he says, so the Sarah Mashkin is told by Yosef that you should know, in 3 days from now, not only are you getting out of jail, not only are you going free, but you're getting back your stellar. And you're going to be again the Sarah Mashkin. You know that story is up here. So he says, so the Bible, it says, in the words, it says, Ki im zichartani. Tells him when you get back to, civilization, when you get back to your Stella, Ki im zichartani. Something about remembering me. So it should have just said, zichartani, you should remember me or something. What's the word ki? Ki means because you're going to remember me. What's because you're going to remember? The word ki means because. Truth is in halacha, the Gemara says ki has 4 mashmoises, but he asked him, ki means biglau, because you're going to remember me. So effect to Napoleon, effect to Kasha. Why does it say ki im zichartani? So he said the pshat is like this. The pshat is that Yosef told the Sarah Mashkin something which was not shaykh to be believed. The fact that he's going to get out of jail, this is Mela Pella, Mamash Pella. But that'll get out of jail is one thing. It could be on a birthday, he's going to give him, he's going to exonerate him and whatever. So, but he's going to get out of jail and that he's going to go back to his Stella at the Sarah Mashkin. I mean, there's a reason that he got fired, right? There's a reason he got fired. So there's a reason he got fired. He's going to get back to Stella. So the Sarah Mashkin, it's mashkin a little bit in the Medrash like this. The Sarah Mashkin kilo was mispoiled. What? I'm going to get back my Stella. That was his Pella. So Yosef at Tzaddik of Anarta, Yosef told him, no, don't make a mistake. Ki im zichartani. The only reason you're getting back your Stella is because you're going to remember me. That's why you're going back. That's why. He was answering his kasha. You read the Psukim now, it reads Mamash Gevaldik. He was telling him, you're in 3 days, you're getting back your Stella. Why? Ki im zichartani. Because you're going to remember me. So he told him, listen, you've conquered the whole entire world. That means, of course, the Rebbeinu Shalom gave you the ability to conquer the whole world. Why do you think he lets you conquer the whole entire world? Because the children of Yosef are suffering in Kallus. So the only reason you got this far is ki im zichartani. Because you're going to remember the Jewish people and you're going to help the Jewish people. That's what he told Napoleon. Napoleon was mispoiled, was the first person that talked to Napoleon in such a sprach. And they say that was one of the reasons why. He was, got a bissel chutzpah. As I say, that's why he emancipated the Jews all over Europe. So, it's a pshat that, when you hear such a year, when you have such a year, and you're going to be zaycha to be saying the shechiyanu v'kiyimanu v'kiyanu tonight by the Menorah, so then you have to say, so why am I still here? Why am I still, and why? And everybody has good things. There's people that they have suffering. So if you're holding where you can thank the Rebbeinu Shalom in the days of Halal V'Idah and the days of Hanukkah, that's what you're supposed to be doing. So then you remember, Kiyim Zichartani, the Shechiyanu v'Kiman, the reason you're here is Kiyim Zichartani, is to remember HaKadosh Baruch Hu, remember to be Moida and be Mahalal, that's the Yontif, that's the Hanukkah. So how are we going to do that? What's the Kiyim Zichartani? What are we going to do? What's going to be if the Rebbeinu Shalom let us here to be able to be Zoichet, to light Menorah, it's a big schus this year. Everything's a big schus this year. So it's a big schus. So if we're going to be Zoichet to light the Menorah, so we have to, something for the Rebbeinu Shalom. Kiyim Zichatani, put us over here. For what? For obviously, we have a job to be something, if Beis Hillel Paskins 1 to 8, that means that we have to be growing. We have to be going up. 1 to 8, we started small, but Hanukkah has to be a growth process. We have to be growing on Hanukkah. What are we going to do? What's going to be an avodah episode on Hanukkah? Well, what's up is something. So I saw the Mekubalim bring down that it's in the tefillah we say, Semach David Avdecha Meheres Atzmiach. What's Semach? So the Kabbalah bring Semach is tzitzis, mezuzah, and the tzitzis, mezuzah, and tzitzis, mezuzah, and milah, right? Tzitzis, mezuzah, milah, and Chanukah. Excuse me. Tzitzis, mezuzah, milah, and Chanukah. Semach David Avdecha. That, what does it mean? It means from where is it going to be nitzmach the geula? Chanukah is the yontif of geula. The or chadash al tzion toyer v'nitzkei chulan mehera the oiroi comes from Chanukah. Everything comes from Chanukah. So how we matzmiach a geula? How does a geula get grown and sown into the ground that it's going to sprout? How do we sprout the geula from Chanukah? At semach. So semach is what are the stamps of a Jew? What is that which makes a yid, which is going to grow the geula from that? So tzitzis is my clothing, the stamp of a Kadosh Baruch Hu is on my clothing. I'm a proud Jew. Wherever I go, I'm a yid. I stamp myself, I'm a yid. I'm proud of being a yid. Mezuzah, my house is a yid. My stamp, the mezuzah of my house is I'm a yid. Right? The milah is the stamp of my body. My body is a yid. That's the expression that my stamp, there's a stamp on everything, my clothing, my shelter, my body. There's a stamp that how did the Nazis, how did they differentiate who's a Jew and who's not when they were hiding from the Bris Milah? My stamp is I'm a Jew. My body is a Jew. My clothing is a Jew. The stamp, I have a stamp. So what's Chanukah? What's the Ches, the final one? Ches, it's Semach. The Chanukah is not only is it my body, not only is it my clothing, not only is it my house that says that I'm a Yid, and it's I tell it to the whole entire world. I want to spread it far. I want that everybody should know about me. Till now it's just me. It's my house. It's my body. It's my clothing. Say that I'm a Yid and that I stand for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now I want everyone in the world to know that I stand for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And for that, from there is matzmiach the geula. From there, tzmichas the geula comes from the fact that a person, he screams out loud, I'm a Yid. I'm with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I'm with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And so that means that on the Chanukah, you have to do something which is somehow screaming that out. You have to scream that. How do you scream that? You have to have a slavis in the mitzvah. Smicha, growth, only comes from something. Rabbi said there's something called a synthetic potato. Okay, what's a synthetic potato? You take a potato, it tastes like a potato, looks like it. You take a synthetic one, tastes like a potato, looks like a potato. Everything the same. How do you know the difference between a synthetic potato and a real potato? You put it into the ground. A synthetic potato, what happens if you put it into the garnished? Nothing comes out. You take a real potato, you put it into the ground, you get a whole door, a ganze door of kartoffeln, a ganze door of potatoes. A whole door of potatoes comes out when you grow it into the ground. That means in order for something to be matzmiach a geula, in order for something to grow, the only way is if it's not just external, not just a synthetic Judaism, not just a synthetic tzitzit, synthetic mezuzah, synthetic. So Chanukah can't just be synthetic. If you want it to grow, it has to be something that's real. With Hislavus, it has to be real. So they say there's a story with Reb Chaim Oizer. Hislavus, it has to be a different type of a mitzvah. You have to be doing the mitzvah with the fire, with the kishmak, the whole mitzvah, the mitzvah of Chanukah. Kizkim zachartani. If you're here, then you have to somehow be doing the glal for the Rebbeinu Shalom. So they say there was Meiser Chaim Oizer. Chaim Oizer was in Vilna, and he traveled to Varsha because there was some type of gzeira against the Loin Day Torah, and they needed a Rav to be on the cause of the Jews, to fight with the government, to talk with the government. And Chaim Oizer was a very, very charismatic person, a very strong person. So when Chaim Oizer came to Varsha, Chaim Oizer was always misspelled how in Varsha you had Gedolim. That was one of the spiles, because he was a Litvish Yid from Litva, and he was always misspelled that you can have like a Galtziana or whatever. He was misspelled. There were great Goinim in Varsha, and he was always misspelled from the Goinim in Varsha. He comes to Varsha to talk on behalf of the Jews, and his frock ripped. He got a rip in the frock. So he went to light the menorah. It was on Chanukah, this story. He went to light the menorah in his frock, and then he went to a tailor. There's a Heimish tailor, Yiddish tailor there. And there's a big cover, the tailor, when he saw Chaim Oizer told him that he has a frock to be sewn. Could you help him out? And sew his frock. So the tailor was a grace of simcha. So the tailor takes the frock and he starts to sew the frock of Reb Chaim Oizer. And then he says, Gewalt, he has to light menorah. A little bit. So he has to light the menorah. So Chaim Moiser, he asked for Chaim Moiser Rishus, can he stop and light the menorah? He's like, Zichar, I'll say Amen to the bracha. So all of a sudden, this Yid, he goes to the mikveh. Then he comes back after the mikveh, right? And Mamish, he has to go and he has to put on his Shabbos clothing. He puts on his old Mamish Shabbos record and everything. It's all Shabbos clothing. All of a sudden, he was like from a simple Muttel the tailor. Then he comes and he starts saying all types of Shem Yichuds and Vinoyams and Mamish and everything. And then he comes to get ready to light, and he's kulay royed. He's shaking, and he has an incredible simcha, tremendous ava, and he's all excited. And then he starts saying the brachas, with all the. Then afterward, he finally lights the menorah. He's looking at the candles. He's looking. He's stoking up the candles, and then he starts to dance, dancing mamish like a half an hour. This is after the mikvah. Also, don't forget, it also took time. Mamish, he's already after Mamish, like an hour later. Chaim Moiser said, it's not a pella that from Varsha's Matzmiach grows out of Varsha Gedolei Torah with a Chazefel Slavis in the tailor. If Matel the tailor at Chazefel Slavis for a mitzvah, so from there is Mitzmach Gedolei Torah, which is really what the Chazal say. It's a person that's Hamahader Bener, Zoya Bener, it gets Bonim Talmidei Chachamim. But that's what we have to do. We have to have a slavis for the mitzvah of the whole Meiris Chanukah, the whole mitzvah Chanukah, the Hallel, the everything, the learning that we're going to do in the next few days. You have to have a growth process of one day. Why? Because Kiyim Zachartani. Has to be something that pushes us a little bit. The Balatanya got out of jail this week. No, at Yad Kitzlev, well, last Shabbos, the Balatanya got out of jail in 1798. The Baal Tanya was sent to jail because there were malshinim that they, till today you have this matzah. People were being malshin and the Baal Tanya wound up in jail. He was in jail. So how'd the Baal Tanya get out of jail? He got out of jail. So the Litvish version and there's the other version. I'll tell you the version that they said in the Haim and Svalyev. The version goes like this. The Baal Tanya was in jail and the Tsar came to visit the Baal Tanya. Right? The Tsar came. Why did he come to visit the Tsar? He didn't want to visit the Baal Tanya. He wanted to know. They all had their conspiracy theories and everything till today. All the same shikas. And they, he had all his conspiracy theories and all this. So he wanted to see what's this Baal Tanya and Chassidism and all this stuff. He wanted to know what is he plotting against the government and all this stuff. No. So he dressed up like the guard that brings in the food to the Baal Tanya. Whatever. He came into the Baal Tanya. And he walked into the Baal Tanya. The Baal Tanya stood up. And the Baal Tanya said, Baruch Ato Hashem. He made the bracha. L'keini melech ha'olam shenasan make v'idoi l'basav adam. He made the bracha on the Tsar when he walked in. So the Tsar, who was dressed up not like the Tsar, he was dressed up like, he asked the person, what does it mean? And the person told him, he made a bracha on the king. He told him, I'm the king. It's a Azar chutzpah that you make a bracha on me when there's a Tsar living in Moscow and you make a bracha. It's a chutzpah. So, and not only that, and Voltagevain, if I was the Tsar, you think I would come down to the prison to visit you? That's what you think? You think I'd come and visit you? So the Baal Tanya told him, that's a pella. That's not a pella. That's not a kasha. It said in the parsha that Yosef HaTzadik went down to Mitzrayim. He went to the Beis Soyar. He went to Mamish, the end of the world. He went all the way down to the end of the world, to the end of the jail, right? And the Rebbeinu Shalom, in the next pasuk, it says that Hashem itoi. HaKadosh Baruch Hu came down to the jail. He came to Yosef HaTzadik. So that's not a pella. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu made you the king on earth, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu can come down to go in to see Yosef HaTzadik when he's there, so that which he makes a king also can come down and he can visit the people that are low down, that they're down, even if they're in jail, and he could go down to them. And they say he was the spoil, the Tsar, and he freed him. That's how he got freed on Yad Kislev. Right? Little did he know it would be a yontif, but that's how he got freed. So on Hanukkah it says in the Gemara in Sukkah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu's never yoyrid less than 10 tvachim. That's why the Shechina never was yarda less than 10 tvachim. There's one time that the Shechina comes down more than 10 tvachim. That's when under 10 tvachim is where you like the Ner. On Hanukkah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu comes down under 10 tvachim. That means that it's going to be a lot easier to be misloyev. If Kiyim Zachartani, if you realize that you have a lot to thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu this year, that you're here for one purpose, to be Mahalel and to be Moed, and from that, you have to do something. So what I have to do, I have to be Mislayev in my mitzvahs this week. And Mislayev, whether it's in Torah, whether it's in the Dlaka, it's in the Hallow, it's in the davening, it's everything. You have to go up. You have to build yourself this week. And from that, you'll be matzmiach, the real Yiddishkeit, not this synthetic Judaism, not this stuff, stuff that grows, stuff that grows in Geula, stuff that grows in Geula. And stuff that grows in Geula, that's something that grows Gedolei Torah, Reb Chaim Moiser told us. And then the Rebbeinu Shalom, when he comes down in this time now, then you'll begin to feel it. If you're mislayev, so when HaKadosh Baruch Hu comes down to you, you're going to be able to feel it. You're going to have a relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Then you'll be Zaycha, Chodesh Al Tzion Torah, B'nizke, Chalanu Meheru L'Oiroi, a good Shabbos, a Freilichen Chanukah. Good Shabbos. What?